Math 76, Lesson 68, lines. So, there are some cool new words we have to learn. Hopefully they're old words, honestly. Hopefully you've been exposed to these words and ideas before. But I just realized my camera is all wobbly. Hold on. Stand by for technical. Okay, I think we're back now. My camera is stable. It's not going to fall off anymore. Okay. Yep. Okay, we're good. Let's talk about lines. So we've got some three main types of lines. We have a mathematical line, which we can see here. It goes off infinitely in both directions, right? So that's a mathematical line. We then have a mathematical ray. A ray has a starting point. We'll call that point A, but no ending point. So a ray has a starting point, goes off in one direction, never ends. Then we have line segments. All right, segments have a starting point and an ending point. Now, all these lines are supposed to be perfectly straight. However, I am no Michelangelo, so let's just all pretend that these lines are perfectly straight. So ray is starting point, no ending point, segments, starting, ending points. We also have some other special types of lines that I'll show you in your book because I'm not so great at drawing them. We have parallel lines, which never touch. So that's two lines that will just never touch. They're parallel. They look like that. You've probably seen them before in your life. Then we have intersecting lines. There's two types of intersecting lines. We have oblique lines, which intersect at random angles, and then perpendicular lines, which form a perfect cross and 90-degree angles. So perpendicular lines, they make 90-degree angles. They make a perfect cross. Oblique lines, which are kind of slanty-ish. Okay, so those are some different types of lines that we need to learn. Some cool new words that we're learning. Now let's talk about what lines can do. So what happens is if I have two rays or multiple line segments, I can make angles. I can also make long line segments made out of multiple segments. So let's say I've got a starting point here. We'll call it M. We'll have a point in the middle that we call Q, and then this point at the end we will call N. Right? So now I've got a tricky number of lines here, and some of you might think I've got one line, some might think I've got two. It's kind of tricky. So the way that I can distinguish which section of this line I'm talking about, let's put another one. We'll put R here. We'll put Q and R. All right, that'll make it even better. So the way your textbook is going to distinguish lines is it's going to use capital letters. Like if I said MR and then I put a line over the top, they're talking about line segment MR. Line segment MR would go from here all the way to R, right? So it goes from the letters that it's talking about. What if we did line segment QR? Well, that would just be from there to there, okay? I could also do line segment MN. Ooh, that would go all the way from there to there, from start to end. You guys get the point. So whatever letter I start at is the starting point. What letter I end at is the end point. Like QN, I could do QN. That would go from here all the way to there. All right? And so that's how we could do line segment lengths. Now, the reason why this is important is what if I gave distances to these? Like, what if I said this distance was 6, this distance was 3, and this distance was also 3? I could then ask you, well, what is the length of MR plus QR, right? What's MR plus QR? Well, how far is MR? MR would be from here to here, so that would be 6 plus 3. MR would be 9, if I were to add it up. That would be 9 plus, how far is QR? Oh, QR is another 3, so 9 plus 3, so MR plus QR would equal 12. That would be my answer. Or what if I did MN plus QN, right? MN would be 6, 3, and 3, so that would be 12 for MN. QN would be 3 and 3, which is another 6, so 12 and 6 would be 18. So MN plus QN would be 18. So that's some ways that we can use these line segments in this knowledge. We can also use them in shapes. For example, if I were to draw a rectangle, and then I were to label it with letters, label it A, B, C, and D. I can now refer to different lines on this rectangle. I could refer to line AB, and that would be this line right here. I could also refer to line DA. That would be this line. Now, here's a fun trick. What is line AD? Well, that is the same line right there. Okay. So in polygons, you can have multiple ways to write your lines. Again, this lesson is mostly some head knowledge for you, some ways to associate different symbols, markings, and things that we're learning. If you guys have any questions, let me know on the school website, and I'll see you in the next video.